Hi everybody, Ian Bremmer here, and a question from a viewer. Could Trump have handled the Epstein issue any worse? Well, there's always worse. You're clearly not imaginative enough. No, the easy way he could have done it worse is when suddenly it was clear that he was hemorrhaging Republican votes in the House to stick with his opposition to releasing the files. And of course, what he did on Sunday night was he flipped yet again, accepting the inevitable. As they say, when they're running you out of town, get in front of the crowd, make it seem like you're leading the parade. That is exactly what Trump has just done. So the latest move was the smart one. And now all of the Republicans can vote in favor of releasing the files to the extent that they are legally capable. And of course, that is a key caveat, because now that Trump has directed the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, to open investigations into the files that he has called a hoax, into the Democratic senior leadership that has been involved and caught up in the files, like the massive funder Reid Hoffman, like the former Secretary of Treasury Larry Summers, like Bill Clinton himself, all of whom appear in the files many, many times, that certainly the Department of Justice is going to say they'll delay. And they'll take time to do the redactions, but they'll also say in an active investigation, a lot of things that they will not be able to actually disclose. So it's going to feel a lot like the Trump tax releases, where he promised he was going to release them. And then, of course, he didn't, and he found lots of excuses why he couldn't. He wished he could, but if there wasn't, it's just an audit going on, and with ongoing audits, of course, you can't actually then release the taxes. And this is the same thing. It's not me. It's all of these other things to ensure that we don't find out what's in the files. I think, it's going to be embarrassing, because if it wasn't embarrassing for Trump, he wouldn't have been so suddenly negative after having pushed on Epstein all the way through his campaign, with so much of the core MAGA supporters taking this on as a cause célèbre in favor of Trump and against the Democrats that they believed were hiding and trying to protect a lot of their own who had been caught up with Epstein. I suspect that there is not anything that significantly implicates Trump from a legal perspective, because if there had, I think that even though this wasn't a priority for Biden, and even though there was, I'm sure, some willingness to protect their own political tribe, if there had been clear illegal behavior, if they had found that Trump was indeed involved directly in pedophilia, I think that there would have been an investigation of Trump during the Biden administration. So I don't think it's that. I think it is embarrassing. I think it's going to show that Trump lied about a whole bunch of stuff. And I think that there are a lot of people that are now involved in the redactions, dozens and dozens of agents. There are lots of people that know about things in the files that Trump would not want to have out. They would have to leak directly to the media, because we're well beyond a whistleblower possibility, and that's dangerous. It's particularly dangerous because the Trump administration would go after you if they found out who you were. And the last times that has happened, it's been with no impact on Trump himself. So I am not of the view that what we are seeing right now is the beginning of the end of Trump's control over MAGA, that suddenly he is in decline. But he has had a few, let's say 3 really bad weeks. The elections in New Jersey and New York and Virginia, as well as the referendum in California, all went against Trump, and he wasn't on the actual ballots, but he certainly had preferences, and his side lost. His poll numbers are worse than they have been. That's particularly true on the economy. Suddenly, Trump is talking all about affordability when that has been nowhere in his agenda for the first months, and it's forced him to back away from some of his own tariffs on foodstuffs for many Latin American countries, from Guatemala to Brazil. And these are tariffs that initially he said there would be no cost, nothing would be passed on to the American consumer. And obviously now that is starting to happen, especially as we start to see stockpiling of some goods that are running out, and we're going to start to see more of those prices passed on to consumers. Any CEO of any retail and consumer company in the U.S. will tell you this, even though they don't want to be attached to it publicly because they don't want to be attacked by Trump. And so, and then you have this necessary climb down where he attacked not just Thomas Massie, who's not been a big Trump supporter, he's been much more libertarian, Rand Paul-like in the House, but also Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has been one of the most vocal and loyal Trump supporters all the way through. And now suddenly Trump has taken away his endorsement and even called her a traitor, which really diminishes, what being a traitor means. I mean, if you can be a traitor if you're Obama and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Mark Milley and John Bolton and God knows who else, then it kind of applies to a large swath of those that have been encountered with Trump in the political space. But be that as it may, this is not just a House vote. This is someone that had been willing to sort of ride or die with the president, but felt very strongly about a message that he had wanted her to put out publicly. She had, and then he flipped. And now he's flipped back, and we'll see if that means he can come back to good graces with MTG the way he sort of has with Elon Musk. But Elon has something that Trump really wants and needs, which is a lot of cash for ongoing campaigns. MTG maybe not so much. So we'll see with that, and we'll see how much Trump is able to get through all of this over the coming weeks. But I would not be holding your breath on how quickly the public is going to see anything in these files that truly implicates the president. That's it for me, and I'll talk to y'all real soon.